And I think for him, right, it's hypocritical.
Paul, do you agree with LeBron about ring culture?
Well, there has to be a measuring stick. And why do we play the game? You know, is it for the fame? Is it for the fortune? Because as a kid, you play to win. And you are always measured on how much you won. Mm-hmm. And sports will always be that way. Now, I remember LeBron left Cleveland to chase rings in Miami. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't that about trying to get a ring?
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
Right? Because he was trying to fulfill his legacy. You know, and same with Kevin Durant. So it just begs the question, like I said earlier, why do we play? You know, is it for fun? Is it for money? Is it for fame? Because I've always played to win, to be the best. And that's how we are measured as individuals, because when you are winning rings, it's proven that you are the best. And so it's kind of hypocritical for Bron to kind of say this, being that he went to Miami, then back to Cleveland, then to LA in search of rings. And that's how we measure sports across the board. In order to be the greatest, yeah, you can have all these. I could be on a bad team and have all the individual stats, but it doesn't make you great if you don't win. And that's why we measure players to that degree on how much you win and how many rings or trophies you got. It's all measured, and there is levels to this. You can't come to the Truth Lounge and just get in the VIP. You know, it's certain status that you got to have or a certain type of bankroll. Same in sports. It just is what it is. Some players are general admission. Some players are VIP. And then you got others who are VIP. And that's the upper echelon. So it just is what it is.
LeBron James doesn't have a problem with ring culture. He has a problem with more rings culture. Because LeBron has curated his career around ring culture. Because if he didn't, LeBron James never goes to South Beach. He went to South Beach because he understood that as individually dominant as he was nothing without those rings. And what's funny also, too, about LeBron is the fact that he's talking about the accumulation of something when that's the exact argument that all of his fans, all of the people that say he is the greatest, use. His accumulation of points over a certain amount of time, accumulation of assists, accumulation of rebounds. The reason he's pointing out the more rings culture is because he hasn't accumulated more rings than the person that he's chasing. Mm-hmm. And so if I can get out and debunk the fact that it's about how many rings you get as long as you have one, or if I can get out and debunk the fact that we're not having a conversation about how much you elevated your team in the most important moment, just about how good you were, right? Because when you bring up Barry Bonds, it's like, let's not think about whether or not he won a championship. Let's say he was the greatest ever, which all baseball players agree to, right? Like he brought up Dan Marino. Yeah, we know Dan Marino could spin it, but Dan Marino never lifted his team to a championship, so we speak about him differently than we talk about Tom Brady. And let's not forget that part of greatness is showing up in the most important moments. The most important moments are playoffs and championships. And that is the reason that you get to be, whether it's in the top 5 or a top 3 or a top 2, or you get to be the GOAT, is because in the most important moment, as individually great as you were that great or better when it counted most. And so LeBron James is extremely intelligent. He knows that if now he comes out and says, hey, it's not about how many rings you accumulate, it's about how you played individually. Now, all of his fans, his people that say he's the GOAT can point to those numbers as long as you don't point to the amount of rings that somebody won, because that's the conversation or argument that he can't win. And I think for him, right, it's hypocritical. You shaped your career early on around winning championships because you knew championships could make you the GOAT. You even said, when I came back 3-1 against the Warriors, that made me the GOAT because I won that championship. Now, all of a sudden, because maybe there's a fear you won't win another one, championships or amount of championships don't matter.
You are beyond wrong, Wendy. You're not even close to being right on this one. I'm sorry. Sorry. No way in hell. And I'm going to tell you why. Number one, you brought up LeBron and the rings, okay? Who's devalued LeBron? See, that's the BS that we have to stop letting him and his camp get away.
Lots of people have.
Once again, no, excuse me. When we talk about the GOAT, because he's not in a lot of people's eyes, it's Michael Jordan. That is it. That is it. Everybody recognizes him as a 4-time champion. Everybody universally recognizes him as one of the top 3 players in the history of basketball. What the hell else do you want? A diaper and a bib? What do you want? Do you want us to feed you some applesauce or something? My God, what more can you do? Other than saying he's not the GOAT, he's number 2 or number 3 if you want to put Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's resume in there. What else is there? There's nothing else to deny him. And everybody recognizes that. It's factually incorrect when they walk around acting like he's been devalued. It is not true. It is not true. Now, let's get to the point that you and I do agree about. If it didn't mean much or should it mean much, well then, why were you so relieved to finally have one? Why did you depart Cleveland to go to Miami and join forces with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade to get one? Why did you depart from there to go back to Cleveland? Because LeBron only went back to Cleveland for one reason: to resurrect his reputation and his stature, because it wasn't that he departed from Cleveland, it's that he didn't deliver the chip when he departed. So he went back to erase a more than half-century curse on that area in professional sports because they hadn't captured what? A championship. So in other words, he understood it in departing for Cleveland to go to Miami. He understood it in departing from Miami to go back to Cleveland. He understood it when he arrived in Tinseltown with the Lakers, that stars, superstars who wore the purple and gold, he couldn't be the one person that didn't capture a championship. He had to get at least one. But now that you've got it, all of a sudden, you really don't understand why it's of so importance. It's nonsense. He understands why, but let me take it to a level he's not going to take it to, that most of us, Doggy, myself, and many, many others would. Once upon a time, Wendy, you know this, the endorsement dollars, the sizzle, the shine, and all the monetary compensation that came your way because of it was courtesy for championships. You weren't getting that kind of shine when you weren't winning. If you didn't win anything, it wasn't coming to you like that. What happened is that we've been able to use championships as validation for the shine that you receive. Because without it, you just see a lot of cats getting a lot of money. Why is that a problem? It's a problem because on too many occasions, I'm not talking about on the court, because I would never accuse a player of being lackadaisical on the court. They show up on the court and they give you effort. I'm talking about the commitment that LeBron gives, that he's revered for, along with many others, and what they bring to the table off the court, in the off season. Are you constantly working to improve your craft and to elevate your level of play? The audience needs to see that. And validation is an insatiable appetite for the chip. If you don't have an appetite for the chip, and you're laissez-faire about it, and it's okay, I didn't win, all right, so be it, it's all right, there's more things to life. The audience ain't gonna like that. The patrons ain't gonna wanna patronize your product, your brand, et cetera, because the emotional investment they place in you, the reward that they expect to receive at the very least is a passionate approach to you in pursuit of excellence. And excellence is defined by winning. You talk about we don't remember number 2. You know who we do remember other than winners? People who really sucked, who were really horrible, that really didn't care along the way. Oh, we remember them too. And when you're trying to capture championships and you're in tireless pursuit of it, that's what the people want to see. That's where they feel like their emotional investment and their monetary investment in you is paid back to them. So when you say, why you don't know why championships don't mean, let me tell you something to somebody who knows Allen Iverson as a reporter better than me, bro. Let me tell y'all something right now. If Allen Iverson could have did a lot of things better off the court. There is no question about that. Practice habits, conditioning, etc. I got that part. But the reason why he's beloved by the city of Philadelphia and revered by the basketball world is that at 6'1", 160, he used to go up against giants and played to the death every single damn game. And when you saw that, you knew it wasn't because of him. You knew it was because of what he was lacking, meaning pieces around him. Because if Shaq in his prime and Kobe weren't standing in his way, Allen Iverson would have captured the championship. And everybody knows that. That's what you're looking for when you're watching. That's why championships mean it's not the actual ring, it's the pursuit of it and a commitment to going for it.
Nobody says Charles Barkley's not amazing. Nobody says Allen Iverson's not amazing. Nobody says Dan Marino's not amazing. But Barkley is an MJ, and Marino's not Brady, even though he was more talented. And the reason is the trophies. And LeBron knows that. LeBron has no chance to win a trophy with the current Laker roster, so now they don't matter. He spent his entire career pursuing titles. You think he went to Miami to lay on the beach? He went there for Riley and Spoelstra and a better owner and a better roster. He didn't go west. He stayed in the weak East to keep getting to finals. LeBron pursued finals, and Michael 6 for 6 for years. He's talked about idolizing Michael. What's the stat? What stat do we talk about with Michael? If I said to you, how many total points did Michael score? You don't know. How many division titles did Michael win? You don't know. How do you do in the finals? 6 for 6. That's his number, right? That's his number. And so, and he's been doing this for years, playing this angle. It's projecting, it's straw man argument. And I love LeBron. I really do. I like the people around LeBron. So back when he knew he had a chance to win several more, the ring mattered. Because he was still back then, hey, can he surpass Michael and get to 6, 7, 8? Now he can't. Now rings don't matter. Rings absolutely are the difference. Dan Marino was bigger, stronger, and more talented than Brady. Brady got the trophies. That's the difference. Favre was more athletically talented than Brady. Brady got the trophies. Aaron's probably more gifted. Josh Allen is. Brady's got the trophies. Nobody's saying that Marino or Josh Allen aren't talented. I think Josh Allen's the most talented football player in the world. But Mahomes has the trophies. And we can contextualize it why they matter. I'm not a huge Brock Purdy fan, but if he had 2 trophies, I'd have to acknowledge he's a different player. He's just better than I think. So it does matter. And Michael and LeBron knows it matters.
Why don't you tell us your thoughts on rings culture? Take a listen.
It's funny, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it's discussed so much in our sport and why it's the all be all of everything. You sit here and tell me, you know, Allen Iverson and Charles Barkley and Steve Nash, our wasn't unbelievable. Like, oh, they can't be talked about or discussed with these guys is because this guy won 1 ring or won 2 rings or won, like, it's just weird to me. It's like saying Peyton Manning can't be in the same room with Brady or Mahomes because he only has 1 ring. They don't never discuss that in their sport.
Right.
Or telling me that Dan Marino is not the greatest slinger of all time, or he can't be in the room with those guys because he didn't win a championship. They don't discuss those things.
Once again, if he had enough rings to be considered the greatest, it would be okay. This is a typical LeBron. He doesn't feel like he's going to get there, and that's going to be held against him, so now he's going to downplay the ring. If it wasn't about that, LeBron, and if Steve Nash had any kind of...
Stop expecting him to
okay? No, if he had anything, then I would have said, LeBron, why did you leave Cleveland and go to Miami? Chasing rings.
Cleveland!
You're the one who did it. You're the one who ran away. You're the one who put together a super team so that you could win rings. You were the one who were afraid not to win a championship. As great as you were as a player.
Not 2, not 3.
That's right.
Not 4,
now he's saying,
not
listen
5,
to this.
Not 6.
Is he talking
not
about
7.
being a great
and
player?
When I say that,
He's
I
talking
really
about
believe
winning rings because that's what he wanted to win. Such a phony. I'm so tired of hearing this. On one hand, he's talking about, I don't know why we're talking about rings or whatever. He's the one. Kelvin, that wasn't somebody imitating him. He's the one talking up about 7 rings. He's the one who left Cleveland, his hometown, and went to go chase rings in Miami. He's the one who keeps leaving, who came to L.A. to chase rings because he looked at Michael Jordan. And if you look at Michael Jordan's career and you think it's just about rings, you're mistaken. Michael Jordan was a great player, led the league in scoring 10 times. I could go over and over the all-time leading scorer in the postseason. It was more than just the 6 rings. This whole notion. And if Steve Nash had anything, he could have said, LeBron, Peyton did win 2 championships. Well, Peyton only got 1.
Yeah,
they didn't even know.
He forgot that Denver one.
Exactly. But my point is, this is total garbage on LeBron's point. On part. The only reason if LeBron had 8 or 10 rings, you think he would be talking about the number of rings people counting? Of course he would not. Such a phony. I'm so tired of hearing guys make an excuse when it doesn't fit their narrative. He has to be able to talk about longevity and all this other stuff to be able to be considered great. It's not that you have to win a ring to be great, okay? You can be a great player. I'll sit here and tell you Charles Barkley was a great player. Steve Nash won 2 MVPs. No one's going to say he wasn't a great player in the NBA. But when you talk about the greatest of all time, I don't know of anybody who's the greatest of anything who didn't win at some point in their life. Dan Marino was a hell of a quarterback. I'm going to sit here and tell you he's the best quarterback ever and he never won? Come on, man. Nobody. How many times do I have to bring up Marv Levy? He went to 4 straight Super Bowls as a coach.
Not 3.
4. Not one time have I ever heard anybody say Marv Levy's the greatest coach in NFL history. You know why? Because he didn't win. That's why we keep score. That's why we hand out trophies. It does matter. Stop trying to say that winning doesn't matter. It does matter when you're talking about putting somebody ahead of everybody and saying they're the greatest that ever did something. That's all I'm saying.
LeBron's slick, and I think everyone's missing the point here because this right here is being presented as a, hey, look out for the little guy. Look out for Nash and Iverson and Marino and all the guys who don't get their rightful place in history because they didn't win. This is about reframing the GOAT conversation with Michael Jordan because he's passed Jordan in virtually every statistical category that matters except the championships. So now what do? We start politicking that championships aren't as valuable. Hey, look, it's a team concept. My team hasn't been there to put me over the top to get there with Jordan. I don't know why we talk about rings so much. It's not about rings. Let's look at the individual glory. For example, I'm the all-time leading scorer. It's a chance to reframe. It's very slick. It's very slick.
But those are the rules. It's like my rules. Hey, I'm in the Hall of Fame, but I'm in a different wing than the guys who won the championship. I mean,
Still in the Hall of Fame, though.
I know, but I'm saying, though, Jack, hey, I understand. I understand the rules. Like, Charles are great. Karl Malone's great. Patrick Ewing's great. They're not at the table with Magic, Bird, LeBron, Kobe. It's levels to this shit. And I ain't mad at that. I understand that. Now, if I could have won a championship, I can go across the room. But the rules are the rules. We have to play by the rules. And this ain't got nothing with motherfuckers on TV who get paid to talk shit. We talking about players.
Right.
We talking about players. We understand, like, yeah, hey, I'm not at the table with Bird and Magic and those guys. Hey, yeah, am I a great player? Yes, I am. I understand that. But there are levels and there's tables to this thing.
LeBron just keeps digging a hole deeper and deeper and deeper. Obviously, I'm not in agreement with his whole thing about ring culture and how it doesn't matter. I mean, a lot of this is just common sense. But I'm happy that everybody can just see through LeBron's plot here. You know, to try to make it seem as though rings don't matter and only stats matter. So that, you know, because he has all the stats, then he'll be looked at as the GOAT. Right, I'm happy that everybody peeped his game and called him out on it, exposed him. Because we all know that there's one GOAT. And we all know right, that Kobe's ahead of LeBron and Kareem, Tim Duncan, Shaq, and a whole bunch of other guys. Right, so this case that he's making due to longevity, not gonna fly. Okay, I mean, basketball, it was made to be played to win. So the winners are obviously the greatest. Here's what it is. If you're the GOAT, you got to find a way to pull out at least 80% of your championships, 70% of your wins, if you claim to be the GOAT. Right? You can't tell me that every time there's teams or dynasties or whatever that were built that you could not overcome. Okay? Because I keep on telling people that when Steph, Clay, and Draymond beat him the first time, they didn't have a title, but he did. Always remember that. He had a title, and they didn't have a title. They were not a dynasty, right, when they beat him. They did not have 2 or 3 titles when they beat him. And always remember that it could have been worse. Okay? So for all you talking about how LeBron overcame and exceeded all these expectations, at 4 and 6, what did he exceed? Right, according to my calculations that I've done, LeBron, right, did what he was expected to do. Because I rate winning championships. LeBron has 4, Kobe has 5, Jordan he has 6. They all faced various challenges on their way to winning those titles. And it was up to you as a great player to overcome those challenges, whatever they may be. And just because you were not able to do it, all right, to the way that you wanted to do it, all right, that's not on us. That's on you. So that's about it. So until next time.